Hello everyone. So in our previous video we discussed about the basic sentence structure, that is subject plus verb, and we also had a discussion about the helping verbs, the main verb, the verb forms, and the different types of tenses. So I'm quite sure that all of us would love to learn how to frame correct sentences. So in this video we'll discuss about the golden rules of sentence formation, and these rules are very important because we might be speaking and writing sentences, but when we are writing and speaking it, it must be correct so that we get good evaluations if we are writing a test and people feel good about it, our confidence goes up, and we also should have knowledge about how to correct the sentence if it is incorrect. So this is going to be helpful in multiple ways to us. So let us understand the golden rules and see how it benefits us. So the lesson plan revolves around subject-verb agreement and the rules of subject-verb agreement. So the golden rule is the verb must agree with its subject in number and person. That is, the verb must be of the same number and the person as its subject. The rules pertaining to subject-verb agreement are different if the subject is noun. So as we have already discussed that subject can either be a noun or pronoun. So when the subject is noun, we have a different set of rules for subject-verb agreement, and the rules pertaining to subject-verb agreement are different if the subject is pronoun. So we are going to discuss them separately so that you are absolutely clear about how it goes. So subject-verb agreement, noun. If the subject is singular, therefore the helping verb or the main verb must be singular. So I'm quite sure all of you are aware about a singular subject. Whenever we are talking about something which is one in terms of count, for example boy, if I'm talking about one boy, the subject is singular, and if the subject is plural, therefore the helping verb or the main verb must be plural. So if I add s to this subject boy, I'm talking about lot of boy, so boys, I add s and that becomes plural. So if the subject is singular, that is boy, we have to choose a particular helping verb or the main verb, and if the subject is plural, that is boys, we have to choose a particular helping verb and the main verb to form correct sentences. There are some examples over here. Boy plays cricket. So here boy is singular or plural? There is no s, and since it is a noun, it will be singular. Now look at the verb over here, plays, as I had discussed in my previous video. Verb or helping verb ending with s is singular. So boy plays cricket. In the second example, boys, so s is there, so boys becomes plural. And look at the verb over there, play, there is no s over there. Boys play chess. So the subject and the verb matches perfectly in both these examples. Child does not like to study. So child is singular, we are talking about a child, and does is a singular helping verb. So here the helping verb does matches with the subject child. So child does not like to study. Children is plural of child. So the moment that changes, the helping verb does changes to do. So children do not prefer to stay indoors. So I hope you have understood the subject verb agreement from the noun perspective. Subject verb agreement, pronoun. So as you know that in pronoun we don't have singular or plural pronouns the way it is in case of noun, but here we have three types of person: first person, second person and third person. So what is the first person? It's very easy to understand, the speaker. So I and we, these two people can be the speakers who will be speaking to somebody, about somebody. So I and we is the first person. Second person, the listener, that is you, and third person, about whom you are speaking, he, she, it, they. So these are the three types of pronouns: first person, second person and third person. So if the subject is singular for first person and third person, therefore the helping verb or the main verb must be singular. For example, I is singular but we is plural. So we are talking about I in the first person. In third person, he, she and it. These should always be followed by singular helping verb or the singular main verb. If the subject is plural, first person, for example we, second person you, and third person they. Therefore, the helping verb or the main verb must be plural. Some examples are as follows. I speak in English fluently. So here I is the first person singular subject and the verb speak over here. So speak is the first form. So I speak in English fluently. They were playing. So they is plural, third person, and were is plural as well, and that matches. He is here. So he is the third person and it is singular. So we have a singular helping verb is over here. She was singing. So she is once again third person and it's a singular, and we have a singular helping verb was. You are preparing for the show. I'm sorry, we are preparing for the show. So we, lot of people, plural, are plural, preparing for the show. You have done it. So with you we are using have, which is a plural helping verb. So we have to make sure that we remember most of these combinations while writing and speaking sentences. Now we are going to focus on the subject verb agreement rules, and believe me, these rules are going to change your perspective, the way you have understood, written and spoken the sentences till now. Let us have a look at the first one. The quality of the mangoes was not good. So for some of us it might sound that the sentence is incorrect, but if we apply the rules which we have learned just now, here what are we talking about? We are talking about the quality. The subject is quality. So quality is singular or plural? Quality is singular. Quality of the mangoes, yes, that's an additional information. So quality singular, was not good. What was not good? Quality was not good. We are not talking about the mangoes over here, we are talking about the quality. So quality being a singular over here should always match with was. So were will be wrong in this case. The introduction of tea and coffee and such other beverages. So we have tea and coffee and such other beverages. So we have lot of information over here, but we are talking about the introduction only. We are not talking about of what and what. So the introduction of tea and coffee and such other beverages has not been without some effect. So introduction is singular, has is singular. So they match perfectly. If it were possible to get near when one of the volcanic eruptions takes place, we should see a grand sight. So here in this sentence we have two interesting things. If it were possible. So we are talking about an imaginary situation which has not happened. That's why were has been used. So please remember, whenever we imagine something which is not true, which is not correct. For example, if I were a bird, I would have flown. So here they are talking about a similar situation. If it were possible to get near when one of the volcanic eruptions takes place. So what takes place? It takes place. So it being a singular over here takes V5, singular form of verb would be correct. We should see a grand sight. The results of the recognition of this fact are seen in the gradual improvement of the diet of the poor. So here the subject is results. Are seen, what are seen? Results are seen. So it is correct. So the basic strategy should be, first of all, identify the subject. Once you identify the subject, identify which verb is describing the subject or which helping verb is adding information to that subject, and then see if that matches or not. Once you do that, you will be able to identify the mistakes if there are any in a sentence, or while speaking and writing you can focus on using the correct forms of the verbs to create a perfect and correct sentence. So here we have one more rule. Two or more singular nouns or pronouns joined by and require a plural verb, as gold and silver are precious metals. So gold is a separate thing, silver is a separate thing. You put them together, there are two ideas now. Two ideas means plural. So that's why we have used are precious metals. Let us have a look at some more examples. Fire and water. So we can't use does, we should use do. Do is plural, fire and water two subjects. Knowledge and wisdom two subjects, have of times. We can't use has in this case. Have of times, no connection. Are your father and mother at home? So are your father and mother, there are two things over here. So that's why we have used are. In him were centered their love and their ambition. So in him were centered. What were centered? Two things were centered: love and ambition. He and I were playing. So he and I, two subjects, that's why were has been used over there. One more rule, but if the nouns suggest one idea to the mind, so here we have to be very careful.